About me, I'm Jason Cruisenberry. I work for NC Growth. I have a really kind of colored history. I do have an MBA. The main thing about me is that I'm a member of the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians. As a member of the tribe, everything that I do is sort of about that. It's about promoting my people, my culture, and the fact that we're still here. For about 20 years, I lived in Washington, D.C., and every so often I would say, I'm Cherokee, and I would get met with the I'm Cherokee too, my grandmother is a full-blooded Cherokee, or you mean there are still Native Americans living today? And that one in particular would really kind of like tug at me because we're here, where there's 16,000 of us just about 20 minutes down the road. In other parts of the state, there are larger tribes as well. So we're here, we're all around. So that messaging I take throughout wherever I work. But I have been the Director of Communications for the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians. I did that through 2 administrations, which is not an easy thing if you've ever worked in government or if you have any aspirations of working in government. But the main thing is I've been working in indigenous communities, doing communications, marketing, gaming, and economic development for like 20 years. And I've got to see a lot of change and a lot of growth, and especially in our area. The reason that I love working for NC Growth is because we are about building connections in communities. We're about networking, not reinventing the wheel. We're about connecting people up with all kinds of different resources, including this. NC Growth was founded in 2012 at UNC Chapel Hill. It's affiliated with Kenan Institute's private enterprise and the Kenan Flagler Business School. We work nationally, even though our name is NC Growth. I'll show you a map in just a minute about how we've grown, but we're a national organization, and we're helping communities find ways to prosper. We work in a lot of underserved and economically deprived communities. That's sort of our main mission, so that we can help them to prosper. We do a lot of technical assistance to businesses, to governments, to anchor institutions. Do you all know what anchor institutions are? I'll talk about some of them in just a minute here in Western North Carolina, but they're just huge conglomerates that have buying power. And then we work with other organizations. We want to create good jobs and new wealth in these economically distressed communities. We produce a lot of applied research and develop innovative policies that promote equitable development across all the projects that we do. NC Growth started out over in the eastern part of the state, and over the past 10 years, we grew to covering actually all of North Carolina with our projects, having a representative in sort of all of the regions, and 2 years ago expanded into South Carolina. We have a lot of projects there. This past year, I was hired on to take on a national project, so that made us national, that helps Native American tribes promote tourism. I work all across the country and including Alaska recently. They had a flood in Alaska. Have you all seen that on the news? It hasn't been covered in the news a lot. They're experiencing really historic flooding there, similar to how we were here. Except for in their villages, one of the villages that I work with, they are having to be transported out of their areas because of the flooding, 500 miles to Anchorage. So that's sort of across the continent from here, right? It's pretty far. But anyways, NC Growth, we've got our hand in a lot of national projects because of our homegrown toolkits. One of those is an incubator guide to incubator businesses that we developed in 2020, whether or not communities would prosper from having an incubator style business development service. And then we also created a Blue Ways guide, and this was a guide for communities that had riverways, blueways, ponds, lakes, and they wanted to do something to either increase tourism to that blueway in the area or get their community more involved with the blueways, maybe cleaning it up. And sometimes they happen together. Yes? An incubator. This is like for instance, if we took this space and we had a local business that had this idea to start up, say, a t-shirt company or a press company, we would offer them a space to do that until they could launch their business. So they could see if it was feasible in the community or not. And a lot of times it sets the business up for many different things. Maybe they have some financial building that they need to do. Maybe it's actual product building. Over a period of time, they build their business up and then they're able to move out on their own into their own space. So this is sort of like a community space that you can rent. So we've been leading the way with our toolkits, AI. We recently partnered with Google to take our toolkits into the AI world where, you know how AI is. It can just help you with everything in like 2 seconds. So if you wanted to clean your waterway up, it could help you really quickly. So this is sort of the map and where we have a lot of our projects happening across the country right now. We're really proud of that. We have a team everywhere. This is located all across the country, and this is our team. We work with a number of MBA students across the country as well to give them an opportunity to work on economic development projects, and this is just a few of them. Our business is grant funded, which, as you know, it's up and down. We have EDA funding, which we're wondering about right now, but we also have great contributions from these other partners, and we're so proud of that because it really does help us do a lot of the projects that we take care of. And so we're doing business projects and businesses, like I said, of economically distressed areas, and then we're doing economic development projects. And with these, we're working with governments, tribal governments, counties, regional authorities, and then anchor institutions. Both of these serve our mission to build a more equitable economy with good jobs and new wealth in these economically distressed communities. So what are the things that we're doing economic development-wise and business project-wise for the businesses that we're helping? We're giving them several different deliverables that they're asking for, but a lot of those are market research, feasibility studies, asset mapping. We do a lot of case study writing. On the business side, we're helping with business strategy. We're looking at supply chain and logistics, any kind of process improvement that we can implement. We have several Sigma certified people on our team. We're updating SOPs, looking at training designs that businesses have, and we're also doing social media planning. So we're offering out a lot of different deliverables to the businesses that reach out to us. Here's a couple of examples. For the Eastern Band, it was a pre-COVID study, but we conducted an economic impact analysis on the EBCI's annual 4th of July powwow to measure visitor spending and how much of an impact that happens on the brings to the region and to the state. And that's what it looks like at the bottom there. For Robinson County, we did a farmers market analysis where we examined ways to connect local farmers to local customers, and we researched the best feasible model for farmers in that area so that they could connect. In Rocky Mount, we did a business matters analysis. We did a market analysis, created an asset map for them. And then after COVID-19, there was a lot of different funding available for us to do research with, and we did a COVID-19 community response research where we took examples of how communities combated the effects of COVID-19, what they did, and then we compiled that all together for the EDA and the IEDC. So what about here in Western North Carolina? That's what you all are here for, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what happens here. So a little bit of the history. You know, Western North Carolina, primarily the historic homelands of the Cherokee for millennia. The late 1800s and 1900s, things were shifting around. We began manufacturing, agriculture, and crafts. And so we started having a small business-like culture around. So when you go into downtown Sylva, you'll see it there. You'll see the remnants of that. Any of our little downtowns still look like small businesses. The geography, though, has really fostered a tight-knit community, and the community really engages in local resources and depends on local resources, right? So some of the key industries of the past were furniture, textiles, wood products, outdoor recreation, and tourism. In Sylva, you'll see a plant as you go through. That was a paper plant, a paper mill plant. And then Canton, North Carolina, which is in Western North Carolina, they had a huge paper plant as well. It recently closed. Anchor institutions, we were kind of talking about that a minute ago. These are these huge conglomerates like a community college that have this huge amount of buying power. And during COVID, smaller businesses needed resources. And so we ran a project where we connected small businesses with anchor institutions so that they could access the procurement benefits that an anchor institution has. So it could be like a hospital, a university, or it could be the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians here in Western North Carolina. And the reason is because we have gaming. So the EBCI, we've been a central force here in Western North Carolina through investment, heritage preservation, and business diversification. We own Harrah's Cherokee Casino and Resort and Harrah's Cherokee Valley River, which is in Murphy, North Carolina, which is sort of the farthest western North Carolina. And we've created thousands of jobs and generated a significant amount of tourism revenue. Through that, we've been able to own enterprises such as Kadua LLC and Kadua Homes LLC. And so those LLCs have many different verticals under them. One of them is, it doesn't really have to do with Western North Carolina, but we purchased property in Pigeon Forge where Buc-ee's is, and we have recently become co-owner in Sports Illustrated Resorts. You know, a lot of stuff that isn't like Hard Rock Casino that we needed to be in. I'm kidding, Lynn. The big names. Which one was it? Oh, Pepsi. We're in with Pepsi now. Cherokee canned water is now with Pepsi getting distributed all over the place. You're going to see it in Chapel Hill before you know it. We're in real estate, construction, and community development, especially on the tribal lands, but we have our hand in it no matter where we're at, because we employ so many people in Western North Carolina, and we're doing so many things, especially in the 8 surrounding counties that we live in. But the EBCI keeps an ongoing commitment to sovereignty, no matter what. I was telling Kelly and Aaron earlier that the EBCI has medicinal and recreational marijuana available on the Qualla boundary, but all of the counties, including the 2 counties that the Qualla boundary sit in, it is illegal, right? Because it's not legal in North Carolina. So we're exerting our sovereignty there because we tell ourselves what we're going to do. We're sovereign, we work, we're very educated, we really focus on workforce development, and it continues to really shape the whole of the region. So what's going on today? We've had a lot of growth in tourism in this area, especially in Sylva. In Sylva, in Franklin, and Waynesville, TDAs have come into play, tourism associations. So they're actively drawing people into these areas. When you're in downtown Sylva later, you'll see all the effects that the TDA has done down there. Any of the beautification that is going on, they take pride in it. That is mainly because of the outdoor recreation that we have in the area. There's hiking, mountain biking, kayaking. A lot of ecotourism is happening right now. We have a lot of advanced manufacturing, and we're doing a lot of small business entrepreneurship. Again, you'll see this in the downtown areas as you're going through. So we've had a lot of expansion of remote work. There's a lot of challenges whenever it comes to that, and especially challenges when it comes to businesses in the area, because broadband and Wi-Fi is not at a premium here. It is really touch and go, no matter where you're at. There is an expansion into remote work. It's kind of slow. We have challenges, including infrastructure, housing affordability, and workforce retention. So NC Growth is really working hard to try to address these with business support, with strategy, and through our partnerships. Hurricane Helene happened last year, as you know, in the area, and it really caused a significant amount of flooding and damage. You've seen it. If you have time as you're driving through Asheville or through the area, you can off the interstate and back on and see the damage is still there. It's really sad. We're still waiting on funding to help businesses. Many small businesses and tourism operations, they've faced closures, obviously, or supply chain breakdowns. The recovery efforts focus on resilience plannings, rebuilding, and any kind of technical assistance that we can offer. And again, NC Growth is here in the area, and we are doing it with these businesses as best we can. How have we impacted the areas that we've worked in? We've supported around 200 plus businesses in our time at NC Growth, the whole of the time. We've helped 100 plus communities, and we've helped to create over 1,000 jobs or retain more than 1,000 jobs, which is really, really good, and we're really proud of that. Do you understand Western North Carolina a little bit better? just a little bit better. It's so dynamic, and it's from one side of Western North Carolina to the other, it is just a dynamic area. Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you.